What's up, guys? Welcome to Untamed Unhinged Reptile Podcast. I got my co-host with me. We got Eric from EA Snakes, and my other co-host, the mad scientist, David. Do you want me to say David F?
You can just call me David. Yeah, David's good.
But our guest today is Nick from Unlimited Exotics, works with monitors. But I want to do a quick shout out because we've been working hard, hustling, and we got a new sponsor. It's Cold Blooded Cafe. She's our newest sponsors, Desiree and Chris. I want to thank them. What happened? But yeah, I want to thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Just want to tell them thank you from the bottom of the heart. And on that note, let's just bring out Nick. Get going. What's up, brother?
What's going on, guys?
We lost Eric, I think.
Eric, he's coming back.
Oh.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
I don't know what happened. My screen went black.
I get it, man. You didn't want to do it with me. You just wanted to leave.
What's going on, yo?
No, he wanted to be introduced as the guest instead.
Yeah.
It's the first time that's happened.
What? All right, Nick. Go ahead and tell us what you work with. What you do.
What's going on, guys? So, if you don't know me, I work with a lot of big monitors, a lot of Rana Salvatore, different morphs and stuff like that. Work with Nucalis, Coming Eye, Peace Throats, and Melanus, Quince monitors. I deal with earless monitors too, a lot of other weird stuff, but the main stuff is the Salvatore.
Nice.
Yeah. It's where my passion lies. I love the big stuff.
Bro, how you been though? Honestly, like shit, you have been on a podcast for a year. My podcast, anyway. Well, I haven't even seen you on another podcast, so I don't know if you've been on any other ones.
I haven't. Yours was the last one.
Dude.
Yep.
I see you hustling. I see you working. Like, what's new with you? Like, what have you brought in? Anything new?
We changed so much. We expanded the facilities, probably double the size now, I'd say. I started working with a lot of smaller monitors like Peach Throats and Melanus. I just bred Melanus for the second time, which is the third time in the country. So I had second and third, I believe.
Nice, congrats.
There's one other guy too, but thank you. So I was really excited about that. Got a lot of other stuff in the works that I don't want to reveal too much yet, but a lot of other cool stuff coming up. And still grinding on those Nucalis. I think that's where we ended last time, was me talking about how much I love Nucalis. Still haven't done it. I've gotten infertils, but wish me luck. I think I got it this time. Hoping.
So of all your projects, what is your favorite project?
Nucalis by far. It's the most challenging. I love a challenge. I think that's why I like monitors so much, because it's not like anybody can just pick them up and start breeding them. Like, I'm not going to bash anything else, but like crested gecko, stuff like that. It's kind of like anybody can like grab a pair and breed them. You can't do that with monitors. They're not going to breed by accident. Everything has to be perfect, and there's so many steps to it. And Nucalis is like up here on that list. Like, everything I've tried, I cannot get it to happen, but I'm getting closer. Getting closer.
Is that like behavior and like psychology, kind of like they have to be a good match for each other, and like just
definitely
right
be a good match. Yeah, exactly. And all the temperatures have to be perfect. Enclosure has to be perfect. Perfect example of this is like, this is the most I've ever had to pair something. My two sulfurs would not match up, and I had to try 7 times. I had to pair them. They'd try to kill each other. They'd go chest to chest, like you see on National Geographic. They would go chest to chest and go crazy trying to kill each other. And I separated them 6 times. On the 7th time, after I think it was about like 9 months of me trying, they finally bred, and she's about to lay right now.
I guess she didn't like it because he tried to take her to Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's not that easy, right? No.
I got that.
I think she
Handle with
wanted to
dinner
have
and then
dinner
call it a
first.
day, right? No, it's not that easy.
Yeah. No, it's not that easy.
But I was gonna say, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
She's just such a big alpha female that the male was a little bit smaller. So what I did is I bulked him up and really got him a lot bigger than her, and then tried that route. But to bulk him up, it's not like something you do overnight. Honestly, it's like anything else. So it took me probably about 6 months to accurately do that.
I was like, you don't have to drop tents or anything, like make it kind of rainy. They don't breed during the rain or anything like that.
Certain species you do. With the Melanus, I naturally dropped it because my building is all cement. So when it got in the colder months, it naturally went down probably 6 degrees ambient temperature. So they started breeding because of that. And then when spring came, it started coming up naturally. But that was just luck of the draw. I just got lucky on that.
And how many individuals are you pairing at a time? Like I know like you obviously pair them up, but like out of the whole group, like do you ever try
I got crazy. I've only normally, because each species you got to kind of, once I'll work with one species that I can't figure out, and then I'll move on to the next one. And now I've gotten to the point where I probably have, I think it's 6 species breeding. So it's kind of overwhelming. This is the most I've ever had going. I have 5 females in a lay box right now, but I got to check them multiple times a day, because if I don't get the eggs the same day, really same couple hours, the eggs will dry out and go bad. So I got to stay on top of it. So I go in the morning, at lunchtime, and usually at night too.
Yeah, because obviously you only need like 2 individuals to breed, right? Male, female. But yeah. I was curious if there was like a larger group that you were sampling from, and that like if one pair didn't really have good chemistry, you could switch them up or something.
With monitors, you can't really. I mean, separately, you can't really pair. It's really a 1-to-1 kind of ratio kind of thing. You can't really do like a 1.2 in the same enclosure. But I do have, like my Quince monitors, I have 2 females. So he'll breed the 1 female for 3 weeks, and then I'll switch it off and do it back to back kind of. That's how I actually got the first 2 clutches.
Okay.
But gestation on them, like if they breed, say I pair them for 14 days, any monitor across the board, I pair them for 14 days. Then 3 weeks after that is when they lay. So then after they lay, I'll give them 2 months off. So there's a big gap in between breeding all the different monitors.
Do they lay in a nest or anything like that, or they just scatter them?
I make a giant lay box. Actually, my lay box is about 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. So like your normal like dwarf monitor enclosure is just the size of the lay box.
Wow.
Bro, I just want to know how you get fire monitors, though, like the ones you have right now. Like those things are just amazing.
It's an obsession. I ask her if I want something like the new Collis, dude. It took me 3 years to get them, and I'm still collecting them. Anytime I see one, I pick them up. I'm up to 3.3 now, and it was just me annoying anybody, and it was just like following a paper trail of finding out where they went. They've only been bred in the United States once by John Adragna and his partner Alex. They bred it once like 5 years ago, something like that. But the other ones have all been imported. But they don't bring them in. It's crazy.
They can't, or they
can bring them. I mean, the Philippines are closed now, but they could have brought them in. So there is some around. Like once in a while, you'll see one pop up. Like I was on Morph Market, I think it was 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. I posted that one with the white head. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, that just randomly popped up on Morph Market out of nowhere. Like one of the rarest monitors you can get just pops up. I couldn't send the guy the money fast enough.
It was gone, right?
It wasn't even saved. He just said, "I need it now."
Yeah, it was literally online for 2 minutes. My wife wanted to kill me, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
But man, I don't know. As long as I've known you, all I've seen you is just progress.
Thanks, bro.
Grow from like when you first started. Yeah, like you're kicking ass, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, bro. As you know, it's just you got to keep your head down and just keep going. Since I was a little kid, I've wanted to do this. Like I looked up, we talked about this last time too, like Ron St. Pierre, Tom Crutchfield, those were like my idols. So to get to the point of breeding was like something I never thought would even happen. So to finally even get there where you have multiple things breeding, no better feeling in the world. my project that I'm raising up for probably like the next 5 years is actually behind me. There's caiman lizards in there. You can't really see it, but they're little baby caiman lizards.
Are they the ones? No, yeah, they're the ones that have like the red head, green body, right?
Yeah. I can't move the computer, or I'd show you. But they're bucket.
No, you're good. No, we can just solo you out.
You can see the male's head all the way up and down.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it.
Yep.
And is that
what do you feed those guys,
the
Nick?
wall?
Yeah, he built his enclosures in the wall. Yeah.
That's really dope.
Yeah, this is my living room. This isn't even my place.
Yeah, like he in it, bro. Like,
yeah.
What do you
like
feeding those caimans?
What's that?
What are you feeding the caiman lizards?
They eat a lot of snails. They'll eat like any crustacean, like shrimp, stuff like that. But they love snails. They'll actually chase me out of the enclosure trying to get the snails out of my hand.
That's interesting. I didn't know that they liked snails.
Yeah, that's their main diet. They freak out over snails.
All right, you ready for the tough question, Nick?
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
All right. What separates you from everyone else?
That is a tough question.
Well, I'm picking up his drive. He seems like he likes a challenge. He really tries to grind it out from what I'm hearing. So
yeah, I think that hits it right on the head. I don't like to compare myself with anyone else, so it's a hard question to answer just because of that. But if I had to say something like that about myself, which I don't like to, if I want something, I will do anything to get it. That's what my wife always says about me. What's up, Rodriguez? I don't know. If I want something to happen, I'm going to do it no matter what. And that was kind of my whole thing with the monitors is, I mean, even the Quints, everyone since I was younger said that it wasn't possible. You can't do it. They can't be bred in captivity. It even says it in some books. And I really honed in on them, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And it happened. I got lucky. It's not really me doing anything. It's them breeding. It's not like I'm doing, but I'm just providing the right environment for them.
Bro, I like the way you do, like when you do breed something, you're like quality, that little paper that you do, and then you stamp it, the quality stamp. I like that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
That means a lot. That means a lot to me because I don't want people to think I'm just breeding it for money. Because honestly, if anybody that's in deep in the monitors as I am, like, you're losing money. You ain't making money. There's no making money.
Why? Like,
it's just so expensive, man. I mean, my facility alone, I probably have close to $100,000 in building it, and that's not even including animals. That's not including food. That's just simply caging.
So in your facility, is it like a reptarium? Are you trying to do a reptarium or?
The thing is, in all honesty, I went kind of all out with this place, and I got a little deeper than I wanted to. Hey, thanks, Rodriguez. I went all out, and now it's to the point where I need to expand because I have too much stuff and too many holdbacks and stuff like that. So I'm trying to find a place so I can make it open to the public. Like, I want people to come. I don't think the facility that I have now is really, it's more of a breeding facility. It wasn't really set up for people to come and see it. It's at my parents' house, to be completely honest. They have a huge horse farm, and I built it there. So I can't really have people coming through my parents' house, but I want to build something out here that people can go to and see.
Yes, ambition is such a great trait to have.
I agree.
Yep. I can't wait to get caiman lizards. Me either. I want one, but I feel like they're a lot of work.
There's so much that's not known about them. That's what's so crazy. I love stuff like that people don't really know, like the earless monitors. There's like very little information about them, and that's what drives me because I like figuring them out. I like the puzzle within the puzzle.
And what do you mean by like unknown information? Like, is that like diet, like what, like breeding
everything?
conditions?
With the earless monitors, they don't even know like their area where they're from. They know the main, like they find them in certain areas, but they're, how do you say it?
Like geography and distribution. It's not specific. Yeah,
it's not specific. They know generally where they're from, but they don't know how wide that range is.
See, and then that's why people say go do your research, but at the same time, your research is changing, dude. Like, information is changing. They're adapting.
With those two, they said that they were like highly endangered, and when they asked the local people, like, how often do you see these? They were like, all the time, every day. So they're saying that they're these super rare lizards that are super elusive, but the native people are seeing them every day, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we're rediscovering species all the time. Sometimes, like I've seen like there's like, oh, there's this one frog or there's this one reptile that's like people thought was like almost extinct or like endangered or something, and then they just see it pop up in a random place.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all see that? Now that he says that, I just remembered something about that. Like, they just found a pie chart.
A pie chart.
I heard about that.
I did see that.
Yeah, that's cool. So I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry.
By me, we actually have melanistic squirrels out here.
That's awesome.
I love seeing stuff like that in nature.
It's just crazy how like. Not only that, aren't squirrels mating with like a different other type of squirrel or something that I heard about?
I have no idea.
Well, this goes back to my biology review, Chris, I need to give you on the species concept and reproductive barriers.
Yeah, see, that's why he's the scientist.
That's cool.
It's just it's really like in nature it's really bizarre how species and groups of individuals become isolated and differentiated from each other. And like for instance, there's some bird species that the only reason they don't mate, like they can physically mate, like their gametes and everything can form and all this stuff, but they just don't sound the same. They sound different, right? It's like like in humans, it's like some girls will only date guys that are taller than so and so, you know?
Yeah.
Like it just kind of happens like that. So,
that's crazy.
Or good looking.
Yeah. I know, Chris. I know.
I'm not good looking. Don't worry about it, bro. Like Eric's good looking. Nick is good looking. We just fall underneath that scale. We're down here.
Yeah.
I ain't good looking. I'm bald as hell. That's why I wear my hat.
That's why you're big flexing. You have to make up for it in the gym, right?
Yeah, I just work out, bro. That's why.
David, before you got here, he was wearing a freaking gym shirt. Basically, I had to tell him to go put a shirt on.
He said,
"Y'all look small."
Yeah, I'm not gonna hide it. I did have a little wife beater on earlier, but I changed that.
Yeah, but you're tiny.
I know. I'm working on it. You're Mr. Big Man. I'm
okay. Me too. I'm working on it too. I'm back in the gym myself.
KC. Oh my God. I don't know these girls, but I think she's making them up. But so, what do people most misunderstand about you, Nick?
I guess in the reptile hobby, I guess it's honestly how I started. When I started, I didn't really know what I wanted to get into. So I kind of tried everything, which I think kind of everybody does. And I guess like I buy and sell some stuff, like a lot of stuff, trying to figure out what I liked. But once I got into the big monitors, it was over. So I think that's what people don't really understand about me is like, I'm in it for the monitors and that's it. And I think people think like, just like we were just talking about, when you go to sell babies, people see a price tag of $1,500, $3,000 for a baby, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's rolling in it." It's not true at all.
That's true.
Well, they think you're putting it in your pocket. Let alone, I mean, every time I ordered from Cold Blooded Cafe, my bill's like $4,000, $5,000.
Oh yeah,
I'll order for 3 months.
Yeah, but your collection's huge. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I was like, I just placed an order.
When I feed 3 times a week. On Wednesday, I do quail. On Friday, I do rodents. And on Friday, when I do rodents, it's 3 5-gallon buckets full of rodents. Just to put that into perspective. That's how many rodents I'll use. It's crazy. And
who's Emily? Sorry.
Just naming some girls.
For real, she started naming girls. I was like, what?
They're using ChatGPT to generate girl names right here.
Hey, already been scooped up. All right.
But Nick, this brings up an interesting question, though, at least in my perspective, because I'm kind of new to the reptile hobby and everything. So what kind of steps are you taking to kind of optimize your business model, kind of tie up loose ends and stuff? Because you did mention that it's not like, it's a little bit of a downhill in a way, like you're really investing in it. Yeah. Like, is there anything that you're seeing to at least try to get to neutral or kind of?
I think like any business, when you first start, it's going to be downhill. I mean, you got to invest a lot just to get going. And in this hobby, it's a never-ending investment because you're keeping your stock alive. It's not like another business where you just buy a building, buy inventory. Your technical inventory is living. So it's a constant investment. But it does, I could see it. It's coming up. The more I'm breeding, the more it's starting to even out. And it's not that I'm breeding to try to get all my money back. Obviously, it's a passion, but I don't want to invest my entire life savings into just this either. I do have a family, and I do have stuff that I'm trying to do other than reptiles. And I do have.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. You're not trying to bleed it dry for value, but you're trying to create a sustainable business so that you can have a business.
Yeah. And if it evens out at the end of the day, I'm ecstatic. I'm not looking to make a killing on it. I want to pursue this, and I want to have something like a reptarium where people can come to. And I'm just going to keep taking that money that I do maybe eventually make and investing it back in so other people can enjoy it too. But I think that's going to be probably like 5-10 years down the road, to be honest.
How long you been in it, Nick? How long you been doing it?
I got into the hobby. My dad has actually been in the hobby longer than me, believe it or not. And he's the one that brought me to my first reptile show. And I think I went to my first reptile show when I was in 8th grade. And I think I was vending by the time I was in high school.
Nice. That's quick.
Yeah. My dad started with chameleons. That's what we started breeding. And then once he bought this farm, we kind of were like, all the big stuff is where it's at. We both love monitors. So it's a whole family thing. It's not just me. I say it all the time. My wife honestly spends the most time taking care of animals. More than me, more than my dad. She spends probably like 6 hours a day taking care of stuff. On top of it, and she's a nurse manager. So she goes from the hospital to the facility. She works like 18 hours a day. She's crazy.
That's awesome.
Damn. Y'all are hustling though. Yeah. Sound like my mentor.
Mine too.
My mentor, Mike Voorhees, he does retics.
Nice.
And it sounds like the same thing. He says he goes to work, gets off the animals, reptiles, but he loves it. He loves it.
My mentor is Mike too. Mike Stefani. Mike's Monitors. I don't know. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, Mike Monitors. Yeah. He's doing that the Monitor podcast on Trap Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call him Uncle Mike, but he's like my dad.
I think that's what everybody calls him, though. I think everybody calls him Uncle Mike.
Yeah.
What I know.
MJ started that. And it just stuck.
So everybody's like, "What's up, Uncle Mike?"
What's up, Uncle Mike? He might be watching.
So what is your favorite thing about what you do?
Just spending the time there, man. Every day I work because I drive for a living and I work on cars and houses. Everybody does. Everybody calls him Uncle Mike. every day I'm working. I just look forward to that day ending, not to go home, but to go see my animals and see what's going on and see what's breeding, what's going. Like, those are my passion, my project. All day I think about that, how I can better it. I used to think about like the social media end and like what I could do to better that. Now I kind of, if you haven't noticed, I kind of dropped off of that. I don't really post that much anymore. I don't really pay attention to that as much. It's more just fully immersed in the animals. When I have something crazy, like something that I'm proud of or I feel is an accomplishment, I'll post it online. But other than that, that's really all I post.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't seen you post like you used to.
Yeah, I used to post every day, if not 2 times a day, for a long time.
Yeah, but it's hard to get on that algorithm, though.
Yeah.
I hate the algorithm in Instagram.
Me too. And along with that, once I get this facility going, the next place, I want to take to YouTube and start that again. And really show people how to breed them and how to take care of this big stuff, because I don't think a lot of people can fathom having an 8-foot monitor in their house, let alone 30. So I would like to show people how to do that the right way.
Man, 8 feet.
Yeah,
I thought the Savannah monitor got like 5 feet.
Yeah, the Savannah does get 5 feet. My biggest is my Black Dragon Shadow. He's 8 foot.
Which I saw that you got patches. Those are dope patches, by the way.
Thanks, dude. They're going to you. They're coming to you with your shirt.
Education is so important. Exactly, I agree. Because it changes all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
if it wasn't
and
for all
then
the influencers like Brian and Kenan. Kenan was a huge one for me. All those guys, I wouldn't know half the stuff I know.
I was about to ask you that question too. Like, who do you look up to? You know, that's big time.
My favorite YouTuber as of now still is Kenan. I always liked Kenan. I watch his stuff all the time. But I mean, there's Dave. There's so many. It's just crazy because when I was younger, like I said before, those people were like my idols. So now to be able to meet them in person and talk to them and be in some of their videos and stuff just still blows my mind as a 30-year-old man.
Bro, don't you feel like you're screaming inside? You're like excited, right?
Yeah,
like a little kid.
every time.
Bro, so every like when I bring a guest on or something like that, and I look up to them, like really do, like you with your monitors, I look up to you big time, bro.
Thanks.
So like your progression, I feel like you're up there too. So I bring you on like, oh man, can't wait to have Nick on. Because remember the first time I brought you on, I had to rush you off because I was working. I gave you an hour. Yeah. And then the second time I got you again.
Yeah. A perfect
But
moment.
you were excited to be on though.
Yeah, I was. I was so excited to be on. I was happy when you asked me again. But a perfect moment of that kind of like got the best of me was, Reptile Talks in California that did that whole thing out there.
Mm-hmm.
They had people come out. Well, they asked me 2 days before to come do a talk for an hour. I had to talk in front of a whole symposium for an hour. I think I did like 40 minutes, something like that. And honestly, it didn't go as good as I wanted it to. But it was crazy to me. Right before I went on, I was talking to Ty Park. We were sitting front row. And he was talking to me and he was telling me like how good I'm going to do when I get up there. He was just giving me words of encouragement. But I felt like I was like above my body looking down on somebody that I had so much respect for is now telling me that I'm going to go do good at my presentation. And I was just like, this is surreal right now. I was like, it was crazy.
Your soul left your body.
Yeah, literally. Ty was one of those people when I was probably like 13 that like I would just blow him up in Messenger and just ask him 100,000 questions. And he was probably like, this kid is so annoying. Now to sit next to him talking about my presentation was crazy. It was cool.
But that's awesome though. Yeah. I'm like, that's awesome though, because like that's what we're trying to do here with this podcast. It's just like, lift people up, especially you, showing you off with your monitors, what you do, what you work with. And somebody telling you like, hey, you're gonna do great and awesome. That made you feel good though.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
And you went and you did your thing, and you probably didn't do your best, but to everybody else, you were the shit, Who
knows, man? It's hard to get in front of that many people. It's the first time I've ever done it. So it was kind of crazy, but I'll be back at it again. I'll try it again. Hopefully be more prepared and have more than 2 days next time.
Yeah, they kind of put you on the spot.
Yeah,
but I'm just like
that whole PowerPoint in 2 days. It was crazy. And fly to California, which is a 6-hour flight by itself.
Oh shit! But I'm just like, that's still awesome though, because like, as long as you've been in the community, I think, and I've been here since 2018, I've seen the community like change to more positivity. Definitely. I've seen it change. Like it's starting to change a lot, and a lot of people are starting to push that positivity. But there is still some.
I love the way it is now, man. We talked about last time. When I came in, it was rough. Like you have to like prove yourself, and I literally got hate mail sent to my parents' house, like that crazy, like letters, like death threats, and for nothing because I kept an eye monitor in a wooden cage. So to see where that started, to see where it is now, it's crazy because you see so many like elite people welcoming younger guys in, which is cool. Like, I mean, even Mike and Ty and all those people with me, like, who am I? I'm just another monitor guy. But they always welcome me in, always answer all my questions. I talk to Mike like every day. And he's just, those people mean a lot to me.
I'm like, death threats? God dang, they went that to that extent? God.
Literally, like physical mail, not just an email. Like they knew where I lived and would send it to my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's not awesome.
Well, it's kind of a symptom of being big.
I get what you're saying. Yes,
connected to the public, right? There's always going to be one or like a few people like that are just gonna, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's just every celebrity, every person that blows up, they deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anybody new in anything, they deal with it. I feel like anybody new is the enemy. Where there's it was very cliquey before, which it's not. The guys that are in it now, I think it was kind of like the gatekeepers, the older guys wanted to keep it the way it was, and now that they're kind of out of the way, there's the younger generation that wants this to grow and wants this to be bigger.
That's right, bro.
It is.
But what I'm curious though is what's the demographic of these people sending you these
So,
letters? Is it just randos? Is it people that actually know stuff about reptiles? Or
I don't even remember their names. It was just something that I didn't know. It was a hobby that I posted a picture on Fauna Classifieds when I was younger of a Nile monitor, and I didn't know how to keep them. I just thought they were so cool, and I wanted a Nile monitor. And it was a big one. I mean, it was maybe 3 feet, and I didn't know I was keeping it wrong, but they attacked me like I was doing it for 10 years and still keeping them wrong.
Oh,
yeah, but they attacked them instead of giving them constructive criticism. Exactly. Hey, maybe you should do this and take that picture down. But they just started attacking them, sending them death threats. That's horrible, bro.
Yeah, that's really toxic, actually.
Keyboard
warriors, bro. Check it out. So they used to be like that, but over time, it's just if you keep being positive and surround your people with the right people, you're just going up, dude. You just go up. You elevate. You keep elevating. Maybe I told you, I got a whole new team now, and we're just up.
Yeah.
Nick's seen from where I started.
Oh, 100%.
And he knows where I come from. I've still been the same person since I've been Nick, and Nick's been the same person since I met him too. So,
the only way
he's seen.
You got to surround yourself with positivity and the people that. It's crazy because when I really was I'm gonna breed this stuff, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. But when I was I'm gonna breed this stuff, I surrounded myself with people and they're not even monitored people. My close friend Justin, he breeds all these crazy Sri Lankan lizards, but he has that same mentality, and he's I'm gonna breed this stuff, and it's always positive. We're not talking about other people. We're not worried about other people. We just talk about our projects, and we talk every day. And I've been friends with him for 5 years now. And once I had friends like that in my corner, it just seems like you all go up together. You all keep doing the same things at the same time.
And then he's right, man. He's right. Yeah. So I have a question.
And he was another person that spoke at the Reptile Talks, which was pretty cool. We went out there together.
Who was this?
Justin Munsterman, Legacy Herbs.
Is he still on Instagram?
Yeah, he is.
I don't know
if you look him up, it'll blow your mind. You've never seen the stuff he works with. Literally, he's the only one in the country to breed multiple species that he works with. No.
I was gonna say, do you know Matt from Peach State? Is it Peach State Exotics or Peach State Pythons?
Pythons.
That sounds very familiar.
He did he does the Burmese, man. Well, he did do Burmese, and then they did the ban of Burmese. He can't own Burmese, so he had to get rid of them. But his line of Burmese, dude, were
Was he in Florida?
No, in Georgia.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Freaking gnats, bro. I really hate them. Sorry. You're going to see me just swat the whole time, bro.
You're just excited. It's okay.
We just all start doing it just to normalize it.
I don't know if Nick answered this already, though, but what are your networking methods have worked for you? What network methods have worked for you? That's exactly what I'm asking.
I guess the best networking is just being consistent. I don't have crazy amount of followers or anything, but when I was trying to build all of it, it was posting a couple times a day and posting stuff that other people weren't really seeing around and didn't have. It was just being consistent. And honestly, even to this day, my Instagram's monetized, but I still boost all of my posts just to stay relevant and be out there. I pay for everything I post. It sounds crazy, but
does that work though?
It's what you do to get a cutting edge, right?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of shows. I don't do a lot of
maybe I should post
showing myself. So that's Instagram's really the only thing. Instagram and Facebook. I have my own group in Facebook. It's not like a page; it's an actual group. If you haven't seen, it's just Unlimited Exotics, and you could join and you see everything I post there. And on Instagram, I literally boost every single post that I do. And it definitely gets out there. It definitely reaches more people. I've tested it. And it's dollars. It's not like I'm paying crazy money for a post, but it definitely helps.
How much do you, if you don't mind me asking?
It depends on really what it is. If it's something, it's kind of stupid, my mentality with it. But if it's something that I think is really cool, because you could set your durations. Like you could set, I'm going to pay $2 a day for 6 days, or you could do $2 a day for 3 days. So if I think it's something really cool and something I really want to push out there, I'll do it for a longer amount of time and a longer amount of money. And it will tell you how many people you'll reach, like estimated with that. And it usually is pretty close to that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Does it matter if you post twice a day?
It doesn't really. There's certain times, like my one friend, Johnny Venom, he works for Nerd, and he's very good with social media and stuff like that. And he used to tell me it was certain times of the day were the best times to post. Like he told me 6 a.m. was the best time to post. And he's super mathematical with the whole algorithms and all that stuff. And you could tell if you look at his page, he has a crazy amount of followers. So I think it's just using social media to your advantage, I guess, would be the best networking. And then through that, you're just going to discover more people that like what you do.
I'm gotcha. Saying, dude, like Johnny, I was supposed to bring him on the podcast, him and Kevin, but he hasn't got back to me yet. And but yeah, I know Johnny. He always hits me up for workouts or like to do workouts together.
Johnny,
because he does calisthenics. So
I moved
cool
him
dude.
up to Nerd. I actually physically moved him at 5 o'clock in the morning up to Nerd.
So you went and helped him move?
Yeah, just me and him.
Damn. Yeah, because he was like, I'm gonna be moving this next week, so I can't do this next week. Because I was trying to get him to come on the podcast first, and he's like, well, I can't do this week. I'm gonna have to do next week. But he's like, well, so I can see me, Kevin can come on, and I'll get back to you. And then I guess he got busy, or I don't know what he's doing.
Him and Kevin are crazy busy. They're solely running the show up there, and that's why Richie went, was to actually help Kevin, because Richie's a great guy. Richie's a hard worker. He did construction before that, so he just has that mentality, man. Just always grinding.
Okay, so I don't got my next question unless somebody else is gonna ask a question.
I'm ready.
Unless David looks like he's asleep over there.
I was just looking up Johnny Venom.
Oh, you're looking at his profile right now.
I try to keep up with it. I'm gonna forget later.
Nick, are you breeding the caiman lizards?
Not yet. These guys, I raised them since they were like little import babies. They're probably about this big now. Honestly, that's a 7-foot enclosure, 7 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot, and they're outgrowing that so fast. But I was told from just reading other people, because one guy, Mike Lorette, has bred them in Florida, and he doesn't have a lot of information out there, but there's guys in Europe that have bred them. So I was talking to some of them, and they say that they won't breed until they're 5 years old. So these guys aren't even a year old yet. And
wow.
I know nothing about how to breed them. So I'm just trying to get them to the point, and then I'm going to try to tackle that. But I want to give them like at least a 12-foot enclosure with all like a river system and everything. So
yeah, those are lizards you can definitely make like a, I guess, what is it called? Paludarium? Am I saying that right?
Yep. Yeah, I want to go all out. My next place, like I want it to look very naturalistic. Like now it's more of like, it is naturalistic, but it's not to the extent that I want. Like I want to walk into my enclosures at my next place and have croc monitors in trees above my head. Like I want to walk through their enclosure and have them above me. I just think,
Nick's building whole ass zoos in the middle of his living room.
Yeah.
Wait, are you trying to build this in your house?
No, I'm literally gonna have to get a bigger house place. I have 4 acres now. My dad has 10. We're trying to go together and try to find something massive, like a massive farm in Pennsylvania. Like I'm talking like 50 to 100 acres. That's what I'm looking for.
What I'm thinking would be really wild is if like you had like a bedroom that kind of was like surrounded by the whole enclosure. So it's like your bedroom, like the part of it that's sticking into the enclosure is just like glass or something.
That'd be cool.
You see like almost like not entirely 360 view, but like a good portion. I can just imagine that you just like you just have like a sofa there, like you just get up and you just have all these lasers around you or something.
To be honest, do you see this little cage behind me? When I first moved into this house 2 years ago, I'll show you. This giant wall here behind me, that my bedroom's right connected to that upstairs. I was going to make that an entire enclosure with full trees for croc monitors.
What's up, Sammy?
And be able to walk into it from both floors, from down here and up there. And when I started doing it, my wife was like, "You got to stop. You're cut off."
That's when you're cut off.
So this is what I built instead.
Yeah, well, sometimes you go too hard in the hobby, right? And then you have to take a step back.
my brain's always going. I love building stuff. So
yeah, but that's the whole thing with ADHD. That's what I was telling David, because I'd be talking to him and then I'll switch up and I'll say something different, and he's like, "Dude," he's all, "Go home and write your ideas down in your notebook and keep them there until we get there."
Yeah, no, like it's good. Like I like the creativity, but I always try to keep Chris realistic in terms of like our goals and like what we should be working on like in the coming months if we want to try to scale his operation.
I need someone to monitor me at all times because I get out of control.
I think we're a good partnership, right, Chris?
Yeah, I think we're all doing it.
I think you down pretty well.
Well, David lives here in San Antonio, so that's where I met him. Actually, I met him at the front desk at Gold's Gym where I was working out at.
Nice.
And then Eric, I just met Eric. Eric was in the live one night, and I was like, "Hey, you want co-host?" And he's been on ever since, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't work out.
No, but I mean,
working out though. I think like you just got that look, like if you were built and stuff, you look.
Angles, brother, angles.
Oh damn. So Nick, what is your take on US art, brother?
I love them. We wouldn't be here without them. That's for sure. I donate any chance I can. I donate animals. Any auction I go to, I bring something. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. We would have probably lost it all by now, to be honest.
I would say it's crazy how a lot of people don't know about US art. So that's why, if you haven't noticed, that's why I reached out to like fish people, like the beta fish. I did a beta fish episode.
It's not just reptiles, you're right.
Yeah, and then I'm about to do a shark episode, shark versus snakes.
That's cool.
So I actually reached out to a shark guy. That's going to be exciting. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got a lot of shit going on. Like I said, I just been backstage. I usually set up the podcast, and then I just let these guys know, hey, there's a podcast today. Y'all want to jump on or no?
That's cool.
I mean, they can say no because I know they got lives, but I mean, it's just nice to have that, extra help in case I have to go, like, stop and go to the restroom or something.
Yeah. The more you do, the more chance other people can see it.
And it's great to meet new people, people that have been around that you don't really know.
Yeah. Like when I went to the reptile talks, man, I learned so much about stuff that I didn't know I wanted to learn about, but it was so cool. Like tortoises, I sat there for 2 hours and learned about different kind of tortoises, breeding frogs, breeding emerald tree pythons. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think more than anything as keepers, we just want to learn.
Yep.
We like to learn.
Yep.
Believe it or not, I think we're like just. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good, bro.
I was just feeding off what you were saying, and believe it or not, like she was saying too, here we're family.
Yeah.
Like, believe it or not, we're all family.
Yeah, we're all in for the
working with different species, reptiles, whatever it may be. We're all keeping this hobby alive.
People don't really get this opportunity that we're having to, like, even when you go to shows and stuff, you can't hear anything. There's so much going on. You're overstimulated. So, like, to be able to sit and talk to reptile people like this, or like something like the reptile talks, is so cool because you get that time to go back and forth and actually have no other distractions. And I think that's huge and important too. You got to bounce ideas off each other, even if, like, we all probably do different things that are in here right now. But some of them play a part.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Hey, I got my own sort of science, man. I don't even know if I've told you all the stuff I've done, Chris. I went to Africa once, like, to do some research.
Oh yeah, he's traveled a lot. I give him that. He travels a lot, and he does he's done the ocean. What was it?
Ocean science, oceanography.
Yeah,
that's
so
super
a little bit of that.
I want to get to
science
Africa
research and stuff. I know, like a lot of the theory, and like analytics and stuff like that. Like I know stuff about that. It's just like seeing like people in the hobby and like having their like facilities or operations, like the very practical side. Like it's super applied. Like what you guys do is super applied. Like like wet science, like in the biology, that's like where people doing pipettes and stuff. It's like that doesn't even compare what you guys are doing sometimes with these snakes and everything, or reptiles, whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's really cool, and it's just nice for me to like. It's a really good opportunity, and I really appreciate Chris for like letting me co-host and meet all you guys and see like what it's like on the other side. Because we like when on social media we're only seeing like kind of the products of your labor, right? Like all these cool specimens and stuff like on the pictures, but it's also interesting to see what it takes to run the operation, build your enclosures and all the fun stuff.
Yep.
I agree with you, David. Yeah, like nobody sees all the hard shit we go through. Like we don't post that hard stuff, even though we should. But we only post like all the positive stuff, the good stuff.
Yeah.
People do post like when the snake dies in the egg or a monitor dies coming out of the egg, whatever. But they show that process. But at the same time, I still feel like people are still trying to like gatekeep information.
100%. I think that stuff is almost more important than the successes sometimes. And I'm at fault for it too. I don't post. I used to post that stuff. Like when I was breeding agamids and I was trying to breed natals, and I lost the only egg I ever got. It died in the egg, and I still don't know why. I have an idea, but I still don't know why. And I used to post stuff like that. And I only post successes now because you get a lot of negativity, and it might be different now, but you don't want to be posting that kind of stuff all the time.
It's just the way it is. People, audiences, they like flashy stuff,
Yeah.
Like even in science, like as a scientist, we only really publish like research that goes really well. It's like very rare for there to be research, even confirming research that confirms previous stuff. Like that's not super common. Yeah, so I can totally understand that from that perspective, but I think like we could still work on maybe like the literature, like I know Chris and some of the other people on the podcast mentioned like sometimes there's manuals or sometimes there's like care guides and things like that, and I think like when you're sort of like a like not necessarily expert but like a leader in the hobby, it's like good to like have resources like that out there, or even just being a resource. Like Chris always and I always like are trying to promote that positivity. People ask us questions, or they come at us, like we try to help them and get them on their way.
Yeah, that's cool. I say for every success that I post, I said this to my friend literally this morning, because he wanted to invest a ton of money in breeding monitors. I'm like, don't do it. I said, don't do it. But I said, every success that you see me post, I probably had 3 failures in the dark. And that's really with every species. I still do it to this day, unfortunately. It's not easy. And they're so uncalculated. Like it could be 3 different monitors in the same species, and they all do different things. A perfect example is my quince monitors. Again, I'm just talking about them a lot because that's something that I'm fully looking at right now and diving into. But I gave one a 5-foot lay box, and I gave the other a 3-foot lay box. The 3-foot lay box, she got nervous and just kind of spread her eggs everywhere. I only got 1 viable egg. So the 5-foot lay box, she dug a 4-foot tunnel from the top to the bottom. She did the same thing. So I gave one of them a 4-foot lay box. So in between the 3 and the 5, she laid perfectly. I left the other one with the 5-foot lay box, did the same thing and tunneled and scattered them all over the place. So there's a weird niche in there that you have to try to figure out, and there's nowhere you can look it up. It's just something that you have to try to like hone in. It's all trial and error.
Actually, this reminds me of an interesting story too. Like a few years ago, I was staying at this Airbnb, and it was just kind of like this random like house, but the guy had his own like horse stable and everything in the back, and he kept some horses, and there was like 3 or 4 of them, and they all behaved differently. Like, because I offered to just like help take care of them, just to like kind of learn and like just be out there, and like the way we had to like change like the feed and like the hay and like like in the excrement and everything, cleaning it out and stuff. They all like did it in a different way. Like they all had their own preference, right? It's kind of like even people. It's like like doing it sitting down versus having the toilet seat up or something like that. That kind of thing. Like
100%.
like idiosyncrasies, right? Like the personalities. Like it really makes a big part, but especially like with reptiles and like those kind of animals, because they're less like us, so like it's harder for us to kind of understand and like see their perspective. So you kind of have to be even more observant and kind of get an idea of like what they're trying to do. So I could totally get what you mean, like with that kind of problem. You have to kind of.
It's crazy because the more observant you are with them, the more you'll pick up. Like they know individual people. Like I have Lewisii rock iguanas. It's different from the monitors that we've been talking about, but they know me. And when I go in the enclosure, they won't bother me. They look at me. My wife goes in the enclosure. They'll chase her out of the enclosure because they know that she's going to give her a reaction. And they think it's funny. They'll sit there and head bob because they think it's hilarious that she just ran out of the enclosure. They know people. They're smart enough to know individual people. And my big black dragon, Shadow, I can literally go to him. I go, come on, Shadow. And he'll follow me through my reptile build. They're a lot smarter than people give them credit for.
Yeah, no, they are very smart. But they do have a lot of interesting instincts that are kind of built in there too.
Oh, yeah.
So and there's a little bit of a variation sometimes, like you were saying. Like you kind of have to just have experience with the individual to like really get an idea of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, you act differently with each one, and I'm the same way. I have like that sulfur I was telling you guys about. Like I can't go in her enclosure without her trying to attack me. That's just, and I know that from dealing with her. And anybody else might go into my black dragon's enclosure and be like, "Oh, look how nice they are," and then step into that one, and you have two polar opposite personalities. So you got to know each one, just like you said.
I completely agree. I have a green keeled belly lizard.
Oh, they're cool.
When I bring in one other person in this room, she's doing her defensive posture and sticking her tongue out and everything.
I've never seen it in person. That's cool.
And she's cool with me. But then one other random person she doesn't know, it's like, who is this? Like, why is this person in here? So I completely agree.
Did you ever get a video of the defensive posture?
Yeah, I think I have one on my phone. I mean, I have pictures of it. It's kind of funny because it's this little lizard trying to act tough.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, I've seen the videos of like where they have the lizard like see the camera and then like try to run and like headbutt it or something.
Yeah.
Those are really funny.
Are you talking about the emo birds? No, I'm joking. What are those called? The ones that like to attack the camera phone?
I don't know.
No idea.
I'm not really good at lizard names, but yeah,
a lot of my lizards hate the phone. There's something with it. It gives off some kind of.
So, what is the best piece of reptile advice you ever got from someone you trusted?
I know the advice. I'm just trying to remember who it was from. I don't know. Multiple people have told me the same thing. I don't want to say the wrong name and mess it up. I have an idea of who it is, but it was really, you got to let go of all these. When I had too many animals, you got to let go and focus. If you want to, you got to figure out what you're passionate about. And that's how I got into the monitors, is figure out where your passion lies and just focus on that. Because you can't do chameleon. I mean, there's people that do, but not in the breeding way that I want to. And you can't have chameleons, geckos, monitors, and all different kind of stuff.
Yo,
you just got to
go more factory in the building.
Oh, you got a shirt? He sent you a shirt, bro? He didn't send me one?
No, I went and got this myself.
I'm joking. I'm joking, bro.
I think that.
But
is just.
Sorry to interrupt you, Nick.
No, yeah, sorry, brother.
No, but I understand what Nick's talking about, though. Like, there's kind of like a generalist approach versus like you investing in a specific set of individual, species or that kind of thing. Because obviously, like even facility wise, like if you're dealing with the same kind of lizard or same kind of snake or something like that, you can build similar enclosures and everything and makes things easier. And then if you're investing in a lot of individuals of those species, then the captive breeding aspect is going to be easier too. Versus if you have like 2 or 3 individuals of all these different species, it's going to be like much harder.
Yeah, I always say to people with my setup, and the same with my friends I was just talking about, Justin, my building is like an environment. The temperature is perfect, the humidity is perfect for the verandas that I keep. And the same with my friends. He has his building is literally like Sri Lanka. He has humidifiers, all kinds of stuff. Like you walk in there and you're like brushing clouds out of your face because he's replicating a cloud forest. And if you have all different kinds of species that require different temperatures and all kinds of humidity and stuff like that, you're not going to do as well as if you're honing in on one thing and creating an environment for them. Like my ambient temperatures are 82 degrees in my building. And the humidity is at like 80%. Like you go in there and you want to be in shorts and no shirt because it's so hot and humid. It's crazy. I literally have to. I'll go from work and I'm literally like, I can't do this, and take my shirt off because it's too hot in there. But they love it. Their basking spots are 140.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hot.
I'm like, God damn, that's hot.
Yeah. So I kind of that speaks to the fact that we shouldn't be afraid to specialize. We shouldn't be afraid to be, like Nick, you're that monitor guy. Like it's okay to be that, like especially like for people coming into the hobby and stuff, because sometimes it's like they get all bright-eyed and they're like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. I was like, no, it's okay to like figure out like kind of like your niche and kind of figure out, exactly what you want to do and then just kind of stick with it.
Yep.
So like when people come and ask me about monitors, I'll be like, look, I know a guy, and I always send him to Nick because he's the only monitor guy I know. Like I've heard of Mike's monitors, but I don't talk to him, Uncle Mike or all them, the other people. Like I've only brought Nick on, and the way Nick presents himself and the way he handles and cares for his animals is why I say go talk to Nick. Nick knows what he's talking about. Nick knows what he's doing.
It means a lot.
And always, if anybody has a monitor question, I always send them right there. Like I said, I have a certain person. Like if somebody wants to talk about retics, go talk to Mike.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
There's people in each category that you trust, and you have people that you've dealt with that you can direct people to. You don't want to direct them to the wrong person, and something bad happens. I've had that happen too. But as you're in the hobby longer, you get your wheelhouse of people that you can send people.
Oh, you're gonna learn. Like David's gonna learn too. Like he's gonna be like, oh, like I love the way this guy talks, the way he handles himself, the way he carries himself. And a lot of people say it's the way I talk to people. Like when I come in, I talk to you guys in the DMs, or how I talk to you guys, how I lift you all up, or how I'm just always there checking on you guys. Like, hey, bro, how you doing? Yeah. How's everything going?
Like, respect is everything, bro, and you're super respectful. That means everything to me, and that's how I treat people. It's the old saying: you treat people how you want to be treated. And that's how I was raised to be, and that's the people I want in my life. Exactly. There's certain people in the hobby that I'm not going to go there and say people, but there's even creators, stuff like that you're like, and everybody puts on facades for YouTube, stuff like that, but you're even like, I don't know if I really want to be around that person. And you'll figure it out. You'll navigate and find your own things. And honestly, I've been proven wrong with people that they put on this facade for YouTube and videos and stuff like that. And I met them in person. I'm like, man, that guy's a good guy. And I didn't think that before. So it goes that way too.
I've done that, dude. Like I've been like, man, this guy on a podcast a while back was like, man, I was like, this guy seems like an asshole. Then you meet him in person.
Exactly.
Yeah, you meet him in person, he's cool as hell, So you can't just keep. That's why usually I always say I don't judge anybody because I'm not God. I always tell them, like, if somebody's like, oh, don't be judgmental, I'm like, I'm not God. That's not my job. Yeah. I got other things way more important about to tend to sit here and judge you for whatever you're doing. Like if you need help,
what else?
If you need help, just ask.
Yeah. If you don't judge people and you worry about you get farther too, because you're not worrying about other people.
And that I don't know, a while back somebody came at me too. Like I said, the negativity's changed so much. But yeah, he's like, oh, you were talking shit, I'm like, bro, I don't got time to talk shit. Like, I got a podcast to run. I'm building breeding a different podcast, a different brand. I started a rare breed line for clothing. On my merch, it says rare breed. I mean, I don't got time to just to sit hey back here and try to talk shit about people. Like I don't really know, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't know. It's just it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
David came in at a good time. Eric came in on a good time, and me and Nick seen a lot. That's all I got to say. I'm gonna
And
leave it at that.
when you keep the positive vibes up, I think newer people can learn a lot more too. You know, if it's just drama, that's you're not really learning too much. You know.
And that's the thing. It goes along with that too. The more I learn, the more I try to tell people. I don't hold anything back. I never looked at myself as this gatekeeper because that's what I dealt with when I got into the hobby. So anything I learn, I tell other people. It's a lot, especially with the monitors. Like there's literally, if you go to Croc Doc on YouTube, I think he has, I don't know if all 10 videos right now, but there's at least 8, I think. He tells you how to breed monitors. And that's how I learned. That's how I bred my first monitors at Coming Eye from watching those videos. And the more you do stuff like that, the more you help people. It's just going to further this entire hobby. You're going to have more people interested because even down to morphs, like one guy might just fall in love with an Xanthic line of monitors, and that might be what brings him into the hobby. And the more people breeding monitors, the more people are going to be into it. I don't know. I'm just rambling.
I agree.
So if somebody came to you right now, Nick, I was like, man, I'm scared of monitors. I don't want to work with them. What is like one thing you could tell them to get them to like monitors?
I deal with this almost every day with babies that I breed, and there's no real answer. Like I sell people babies that I produce, and they're like, what can I do to socialize this? And I'm like, it's not going to happen overnight. It's something that you're going to have to work on daily for a long time. And the best way for me to show them what they can have is show them. I always say Shadow because he was my first monitor that I invested a lot of money in, and I spent every day with him. It was like a religion. I'd get home from work, I'd put in the time with him, and it shows. And he has never opened his mouth. He's never attempted to bite me. He'll literally come to me when I call him, and I show somebody something like that and be like, this is what you can have, and I can show you how to get there, but you have to listen to my process. And I learned the beginning steps of my process is really with the caging, and I learned that from Mike. And then from that, you could build off of it because they have to trust you. That's everything. It's not really anything you're doing. They have to trust you. And the only way they know how to do that is, oh, you're the guy that feeds me. And then you're luring them from this cage at their house, out of their house to you. That's the first step. And then it just builds off of that, which is a huge step. It's not easy. To get them to come out of their cage onto you is like the biggest step in that whole process.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, they have trust issues.
Yeah,
I seen a monitor whip somebody in the face. I can't remember where I was watching it, but his tail just and she went I was like, oh damn.
The best
I don't want to get whacked like that.
Baby. I mean, Crutchfield, another person that I like and respect because he takes
Crutchfield.
Yeah. He takes wild caught croc monitors. That is like the most intimidating reptile. Even what's his name, Forrest Galante. He just did a video with Ken, and he was like, "I'm not going in that cage." He goes, "That is one of the most dangerous reptiles in the world," and it is. But you have someone like Crutchfield who put it. I think he said it took him 14 months to fully tame a wild caught croc monitor, which is pretty incredible. And I held that croc monitor that he's talking about. So it's nuts, man, because they are intimidating. If you ever seen a skull structure of a croc monitor,
yes, and the teeth,
you might think differently about touch one.
Yeah, bro. The only reason I know what you're talking about is because luckily I had Mad Bio Reptiles on a while back, and he is a zookeeper, and he's always posting videos of his croc monitor that he tamed.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, I'm scared to even want to touch that thing. That teeth on that thing are huge.
But they're so smart, man, and they're intimidating. But it's just like everybody has dogs. Dogs have giant canines too. It's just you have to trust them, and they will trust you. But you can't make fast, rash movements. And he was saying that to me as I was there. He was like, hold him underneath because his name's Bill, and Bill I think is like 8-9 feet. Actually, I think he's 9 feet. And I was holding him like this, and he's 60 pounds. And I was holding him out like that, and he's like, "Don't put your hand over him because everything that attacks monitors is from above. It's all birds. They deal with birds and jaguars and where they come from. Everything comes from the trees down. So if I went like this on top of him, he would probably just turn and bite because it's just instinct.
It's their programming. It's like programmed PTSD in their genes.
Yeah. It's wild though. That's why a lot of people always say, like, if you get a reptile, do front open enclosure. So when you open it, they see your hand coming in instead of coming from the top.
And any monitor, they're going to feel comfortable over you. So if you're trying to socialize something, you always want the cage above you. So it's looking down at you and has to come to you down. Even if you see videos of Kevin from Nerd, you're talking about him. He'll grab the monitor. If it starts freaking out, he goes like this and holds it up. Because if it's above you, it immediately calms down. Something that simple. From going here.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I think it makes sense. Is like they get an anxiety if there's like objects or things above them.
Yeah.
Because then it's just,
And it's so true. I've done it so many times. That shows where I have I'm holding a monitor that's like not shadow, kind of aggressive, and I just go like this. Instantly, you'll watch it change.
Man, I don't know, but I kind of be scared too because like, man, there's kids around here. This guy's going crazy. Oh, you better not bite nobody.
No. I never took Shadow to a show. And when I built my whole display, I spent like 4 months building this massive display. It's on my Instagram and stuff to bring to shows. And it's because I wanted to bring my babies and I wanted to bring my adults too and really show people like, this is what you're going to buy and this is what it's going to turn into. Because I don't want to be that guy like, oh, here's this cute little baby. And then in a year, it's 4 or 5 feet. And people are like, what the hell? So I wanted to show them both. And I had Shadow out of the enclosure, and he's never been out of the house since I got him. So he's been in my parents' place for 6 years. So when he got there, he got so stressed out, man. He wasn't getting aggressive, but he was biting so hard that he had blood coming out of his mouth because he was so stressed out. So I said I would never take him to a show again, but it just shows you the difference in that environment. And I was nervous because, I mean, there was little kids that were like petting his tail and stuff. And here's this 8-foot, 50-pound monitor I'm holding. And I'm like, dude, I know this is new for you. Please don't bite me. And he didn't. He was good. But I said to my wife, I'll never stress him like that ever again.
Yeah, but at least but you know your animals, so you read that and you saw it, so you're like, I'm not doing this again.
No, but and he didn't show any aggression for me not to do it. It's just I could tell that he was not happy, and it bothered me because that's like my kid. That's my buddy, Shadow.
So let's just say I'm new and I'm trying to get a monitor.
Yeah.
And I want to know what is a proper setup for any monitor, I guess, because I know there's several out there.
Most monitors I deal with, I mean, all the babies that I produce are like Salvatore. So they're all Woodard monitors. And the best way to start, I have them on my Instagram and Facebook too. It's something kind of honestly similar to what's behind me, but it would be like a 3-foot enclosure. The best way that you could just go to the store and get one is a Zoomed or Exoterra, the 36 by 18 by 18. And you set it up, it's simple. Woodard bottom, just like that, and just a cork tube going through it. That's the best way to set up a baby. And as they progress, you're just going to go up in size. My adults right now, from baby to adult, you go from a 3 by 2 by 2. My adult Woodard monitors are the smallest cage that they're in is a 12 by 12 by 8.
Wow.
Yeah. And that to most people, they're like, dude, that's massive. Because honestly, it's sad, but a lot of monitor keepers will keep their animals in like an 8 4x4. I don't like small cages. It's always bothered me. So that 12 by 12 by 8 is small to me now. And my next cages will probably either be 16 foot or 20 foot. Like Ty Park's, all his rhino iguana enclosures, if you go to his place, are all 20 foot by I think it's 15 foot. They're massive. And that's the size I want to do, which is a little crazy to do indoors. All his stuff's outside. So it's a little easier, but I'm trying to get ideas on how to do it inside.
See, like I want a monitor, but I want a black dragon. I want to get it from you, but I have an idea. Like I want to build a whole another shed outside in the back, insulated, of course, and just built in there like you walk in this cage, with some like tree logs, let them climb up and down. Do a whole setup out there for them.
Well, even if It's not a sales pitch, but I'm just saying, if you got a baby, you probably have 2 years until you have to build something massive. You'd have, in the first year, you're probably going to see something that goes from 6 inches to a 4-foot monitor. They grow really fast. So you'd have
but
to
then
have.
you'd also have to be worrying about socializing it though too, right?
Yeah, and to be honest, people think they're going to get this little baby and it's going to be social within a couple of weeks. You don't really hit that socialization point until like 3 foot. Then they start calming down and they start getting more comfortable, because think about it, they're this little thing. They think everything is out to get them. Once they get to that like 3 foot size, they start feeling more confident and comfortable. Then you could really like kind of finalize that socialization.
But for until then, it's a work in progress, like everything else.
It's a long work in progress.
Man,
Nick, do you find the black dragons to be like more social than other monitors?
Just in my experience, but I've seen, I mean, Niles, as I was growing up, even till now, they're supposed to, and they do have a total leader. Anything from Africa has a different kind of attitude. They're supposed to be like the nastiest. And I see people, I have an ornate Nile that's totally tame. So across the board, you can kind of work with anything. But in my experience, my black dragons have been captive bred, like not like 3 generations deep now. So they're very, very tame. Just the ones I work with. But I've had nasty black dragons too. So it really depends on the animal and who it comes
Yeah,
from.
sometimes it's just the luck of the draw, because like
It's true.
I've heard that there's like kind of like sociability genes that get passed down in animals, like at least in terms of like personality and like how, like, you know, if they're prone to aggression or things like that. And so like sometimes you get an individual that has a little bit more of those tendencies, and so it's a little harder to socialize them and to, you know, have that kind of behavior.
Yeah. I've noticed in water monitors for sure, males are a lot more docile than females. Females are always, and it's probably just their whole process. They're guarding nests, they're egg laying, they're going through a lot of stress and a lot of changes, where males kind of are just like us. They're
Actually,
just males.
it's interesting you say that. I think it's like there's some other species too. I've even heard of some where like they have a very different behavior, like versus males and females. Like I think there was like a fish where like they had like almost like a different formation they would have around like the young and stuff, and they would behave like very differently, like in terms of sex. So it is interesting to see that in reptiles as well.
Yeah, it's cool. All the males that I have are very sociable and tame. I honestly don't have a female. I have females that would tolerate me, but most of my females are like, get the hell out of my enclosure. This is my territory. That's my nest.
Yep.
Get out.
I think it works the same with retics, because the male, well, like female's cool in retics.
Yeah.
But the male, like, he does try to snap at me, bite me. Like,
is it the females that are bigger in retics, or the males?
Yes.
Yeah.
The females. The males aren't that big, but I mean, they do get pretty big, but they're not that big like the females are.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
If you could go back,
the opposite with monitors. The males are the ones that push to 8 feet, where the females usually the biggest one I have is 5.5 feet.
5.5 feet.
Yeah, it's my black dragon female. She's huge for a female.
See, I don't know how it feels like having a big dog chasing you around the house.
It is. They eat more than the dog too.
You said your black dragon, his name's Shadow. Is that that was his name?
Yeah.
Do you know how much he weighs by any chance?
If I had to guess, I haven't weighed him in a long time, but I'd say like 55, 60 pounds.
That's a big lizard.
But it feels like a lot more than that. Like it's 60 pounds.
How do you carry him like this?
Yeah.
With 2 hands? I bet you're like shaking, like.
Got to work out.
That is the workout.
It is.
I was gonna say that is a workout.
I curl monitors for a workout.
Oh, dude, you should make a shirt like that.
I should. That's
a good one.
That's a great idea.
Oh shit! What's up, Carlos? What up for supper, guys? If you could go back to the beginning, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would change about working with monitors?
There's a lot I would change. I mean, I would have totally redesigned my entire place because I already tore it apart 2 or 3 times. Would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of headache. But I don't think I would change. I don't think I would change anything because it was a learning process that got me here. And if I started here, I probably would make all those mistakes again.
Good answer. All right, so I'm gonna ask you 3 more questions, Nick.
Okay.
And I don't know if they have any questions for you, but I got 3.
I'm ready.
How many you got, Eric?
I got one. I got a decent one.
And David, how many you got?
I think we're good for now, but I might spark a question later.
All right, so what is it? Well, I think you already said this. Your favorite monitor is Shadow?
That's my favorite monitor that I own, but my favorite species is Nucalis by far. Just because of how rare they are, and they're just so different.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even ask you that question now that I think about it. Okay, here's the second one. So, how's the market for you working with monitors?
It's always pretty much the same. Honestly, it kind of, weirdly enough, it kind of followed the social part. Like, the more of a presence I was online, the more I was personally selling. But the market does fluctuate. Like, honestly, I produced over 100 Black Dragons last year, and it was almost too much where I wasn't selling them. So I laid back, and I actually sold a pair, and then I was like, I'm only going to breed 1 time a year. And then I did this year. I bred 1 time, and I got 20-something babies, and they were sold within a week, besides my 2 holdbacks. So I was like, it fluctuates. So I went from where I couldn't sell them to then they were gone in a week. So now I'm breeding them again. So it's all over the place, but the market is always pretty steady with monitors because there's not a lot of people doing it. It's not like, again, not the bash geckos because I have a pretty big gecko collection too. But there's so many gecko breeders, and if you want a gargoyle or crested, you can go to 100 different people. Where monitors, there might be 4 or 5. And with certain species, there might be 1 guy that's doing it. So you really kind of almost corner the market, not on purpose, but you kind of do just because you're the only person doing it.
Well, you're just competitive like that.
Yeah.
So how do you go about selling the right monitor to the right person? Like, do you interview them, or how do you do that?
If someone
or do you ask them certain questions?
They kind of tell me. They're like, because you can't really judge by their questions, because somebody might just get into monitors and not know anything, and you could teach them. I do it all the time. But if they really know nothing and they don't want to listen to what I have to say, then I'll be like, maybe this isn't for you. And I deal with that a lot, to be honest, because people don't want to. The first step is setting up the baby enclosures, and people won't listen to that. I deal with that almost every day. And I get it. They'll set it up, and then when they get it, they'll change it and do whatever they want. And then they'll contact me a week later and be like, why isn't this eating? And I'm like, send me a picture of the enclosure. And they do. And I'm like, what happened? What did you do? Why did you change the enclosure? And then they put it, I had that happen at least 10 times now. And they put it back and they use the water substrate. The reason why people don't want to do the water substrate is because it's a pain in the butt. You got to change it all the time. But if you're getting a water monitor, you're going to have to change water. That's just how it goes. And once they get it to that point, it eats almost instantly. And that's something that Mike has perfected that I've kind of piggybacked off of. And I tell everybody, and he lets me. That was my whole presentation in California, was to talk about Mike's system, MMSCS. It's a whole socialization system. And it works not even just in socialization, but to get babies started. Because getting baby monitors started is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. And that's actually how I met Mike. Is I was like, I have this clutch of babies that isn't eating. What do I do? And I listened to him from the moment he told me, even though when he told me, I was like, put them over water. How do you put all these babies over water? They're going to drown. They're going to die. It's not going to work. Everyone lived.
So what's good for a Savannah monitor?
Savannah monitor,
I had one.
It's a different kind of system, but you're not going to do water. You got to give them a hide where you can view them. And what we do is we do cork tube and we drill holes throughout the whole thing. So they feel secure and they feel comfortable, but I could still monitor what they're doing. And then I could feed them through those holes and they can come to me instead of me going to them. So it goes back to the socialization thing. It's just it's a system. It's a very simple system, but depends on the monitor. Like when I have the quince you wouldn't put over water. You could, but it's not gonna work the same way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do vertical cork tubes with holes in them, so they can climb in like they're climbing into a tree burrow, but they can also come out and I can still see them.
See, because I had one and I don't know, he just stopped eating. He wasn't eating.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a while back though. I want to say like 2 years ago, I think. Or I met you.
They're pretty finicky. Even the black throats, man. They're a massive monitor. You wouldn't picture them to be, but they're very. Thank you. That they're not as hardy as you would think for such a big monitor. I think all the owl bigs are kind of that way. Yeah, the white throats, the savs, and black throats. They're all kind of finicky in their own way. They like it super hot.
Yeah, see that I did. I did everything. I set it up with the temps hot, and I thought it was a little too hot, but I kept him in upstairs in my room because obviously he was like that big.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
even the babies, like people think like your guys' reaction when I said 140. I've seen them use hotter temperatures than that, which is
it was like 170 or something.
Yeah, 160, 170, and they sit in it like it's nothing.
Dude, for real, he was just there too, like chilling. I was like, bro, that shit is hot. Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, man,
they won't even breed. That was one of the things that gatekeepers kept from me is temperatures. I thought I was keeping them hot at like 100 degrees. And one of my friends that had bred monitors before, he's like, dude, push it to 130, 140. I guarantee they breed. And the moment I did, they started breeding. Because like you think about it, you're like 140. Imagine how hot that is. Like you literally touch their basking spot and you burn your hand.
Yep. Look, literally.
They love it.
But yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know, but he ended up dying because he stopped eating. So I don't know what happened.
Sometimes it just happens, man. It happens to me, especially with. I'm sure a Savannah monitor is wild caught because there's only I think one person too that bred Savannahs in the U.S. So that wild caught stuff, it goes through so much stress, as you know. I don't need to tell you.
Yeah.
They go through so much stuff before they get to us.
Yeah, it was from it was imported from Go For Your Pets.
Okay.
Yeah, and I bought it from him, and like I want to say like 3 or 4 months later, it just died.
Yeah, it stinks. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to get another one, but then I was like, you know what? Let me get a little bit a bigger place.
Next time I breed black throats, you got to get one.
Well, let me know. Let me know because I really do want a baby and just be like, watch.
Yeah. You'll love it, man. So cool. I'm raising a baby for my last clutch, and he's like this big now. They have such an attitude on them. They're so funny. Totally different than water monitors. They're cool.
See, you know, what scared me about monitors is when people say that tegus will rip off your toe if they latch onto it. Mm-hmm. So I know how, monitors have rigid teeth. If they get a hold of my finger, I don't want to lose the finger. I don't want to be like, hey, what's up, Nick?
I don't want to say get bit because, dude, as knock on wood, as many monitors that I deal with for a long time now, I haven't really been bit. I don't like being bit. I've been bit by like 2-footers, 3-footers, but those big ones, I'm good at moving quickly. I'm good.
Well, because they're like bit.
Yeah, but even a 3-footer, man, when people like say it's gonna pull your finger off, most of the time they'll bite and let go because they realize they messed up. They're not trying to bite you, like in that way.
Or even like dogs,
they'll give you a warning.
Sometimes they like playfully do that or something like that. It's not like a full on because even like a regular dog, if they like full on bit with everything they had in them, like it can be bad.
Yeah, but even like a 3-footer, and again, I shouldn't be saying this, but I was feeding the other day, and my wife raised a new Collis from a baby, and I can hand feed it. That's how tame it is. And I was hand feeding, but I was talking to somebody at the same time. And it misjudged the mouse and grabbed my finger, and that's a 3-foot monitor. It only put puncture holes, and then it let go. So you don't have anything to be afraid of. It's just knowing the animal. And if you raise it from a baby, you'll know. It's hard. It's something I can't explain to you, but it's something that you visually will pick up on.
And also, like you said, the safe handling practices, right? Like understanding their instincts and treating them properly.
Like her biting me was 120% my fault. I didn't hold it right because I was talking to someone.
Oh, so it's technically not your fault.
It was, but she just saw food, and I mean, they're going off of heat and smell, and she just like nicked my finger. Like I was holding the rat like a dummy, and she just overcompensated. That was all.
I mean, I do feed some of my snakes from my hand because I know where they're going to strike. But
yeah, exactly.
One time I've done the same thing. Like it'll miss and it'll just get stuck here in this part.
Yeah,
but it's not bad.
No,
it's like a little pinch, but
the monitors have a coagulant, so when they bite you, you bleed a lot, but it stops quick as long as you hold it for a couple minutes. It'll go. Some people are actually allergic to them because monitors have that venom in their saliva, so people will be allergic to it. Like I'm allergic to it. Like I'll feel like crap the next day from just a simple bite. But that's worse than the actual bite itself. I don't know if you saw Barchek did a video like 2 years ago when he got bit by a black throat monitor and he was out for 2 days. He stayed home.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I did see that video.
Yeah, that was crazy. But I've heard that a lot with them because they have a big venom yield, the black throats, because they have that big lower jaw. So supposedly they let a lot more go when they bite.
Oh wow. Yeah. That I didn't know. Thank God. Thank God for Nick, everybody.
But do they have it like in their like, saliva? Right. Because they don't have fangs like snakes, right? So they just have it in the
saliva. No, it's saliva. Yeah.
It's in their saliva. Blackthroats actually don't even really have sharpened teeth. They have rounded teeth. They don't even have like pointed teeth like a Salvador or any other water monitor. Because they do a lot of crushing. Their bite force is crazy.
Yeah, it's like the Komodo, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I was gonna say they're like the Komodo. I think they're like, aren't they like kind of from the Komodo?
Blackthroats aren't. The closest thing to Komodos would be like Salvador and water monitors.
So I stick to blue tongues.
The blackthroats are like a muscle house. They're huge. Their whole head is a giant muscle. They're totally a different breed than the Salvadors and the water monitors.
Bro, all right. So I got. Yeah, I'm like, that's crazy. So my next question is, what do you think of the podcast so far, Nick?
I loved it, man. It's great. It's always good talking to you, and it's crazy to, like you said about me, it's crazy to see how far you've come. And I keep reading all the sponsors on the bottom, man. Congrats to you. It's awesome. I love how it was laid out. I love the opening. I love how much it's evolved, even though it was awesome before. I had a great time.
I appreciate that, brother. What do you think of my co-hosts?
They're awesome.
David's ready for his first Nile.
Yeah.
Or water monitor.
He's ready.
David. Yeah, who wants to donate to David's fund? His first reptile ever. This will be his first reptile. Anybody want to donate to that? Let me know. We gotta get him a reptile. Dude, that'd be dope. Give him a small monitor. Give him the Aki monitor.
I don't.
They stay tiny.
Everything. The smallest monitor I have is 5 foot.
That'll work for David. That would be good for us.
If I breed those Nucalis, they're actually the smallest species in the world. So that would be.
We'll wait for that.
Yeah.
5 feet. That's bigger than my grandma.
And my very last question.
Bigger than my wife.
Oh my God. That's a huge monitor then. If you could change one thing, in the hobby / industry, what would it be and why?
I remember this question last time, but it's not even relevant anymore. It was the whole thing with letting people come into the hobby was what I said last time, but it has changed so much that I don't think that's really necessary anymore. I think we're kind of more open to that. So if I could change anything, I think it would be along the lines of what we said of like being more open with information and let people know so they don't have to make the mistakes, because all it is mistakes. I mean, even with breeding, if you don't tell people the proper way to set up a lay box, they're going to have an egg-bound female. It's simple as that. Like, people are going to lose animals if you don't reveal more information. So I just hope that we're all in this together, and I hope in the future everybody's more open with their discoveries and stuff. Even if it's something simple, just let people know in one way or another. And even the social media that we talked about, like, post your failures. Don't just post your successes. And I'm guilty of that too. I want to do more of that in the future and let people know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, Nick. All right. So who had their question next?
I'll go first if that's all right with you, David.
Oh yeah, that's all right. I'm just looking at the genomics of those monitors.
David's on my Instagram picking out a monitor he's gonna buy.
Yeah, no.
Hey, look at that. Carlos said he'll give you a snake.
Hey, there you go.
Hey,
hell yeah.
Let's go. No, because you mentioned about whether the Komodo dragon was related to the black-throated monitor, and I was looking at the phylogenomics of the monitor lizards to see. They're all in the same genus. It's just they're not super closely related species, though.
Blackthroats are Africa. Komodos are Komodo Island in Indo. Indo.
Yeah.
I was like, if you could have, I know everybody's question always like, if you could add one more species to your collection, money wasn't an issue. Mine's is always Komodo dragon.
Yep. I didn't even need to say it. You knew where I was going.
Yeah, I already know. But actually,
Parentes are olivaceous. Olivaceous are the fruit-eating monitors. You see a lot of those in zoos. You'll see my friend just sent me pictures of them in the Bronx Zoo by me. I've seen them in San Diego Zoo. They're really cool because they live off of figs, which is totally unorthodox for monitors. I think they've actually, since I started, olivaceous was the only fruit-eating monitor. Don't quote me on it, but I think there's 3 species now that are actually fruit-eating monitors. So those would be cool. Or Parentes. Parentes is the biggest monitor in Australia. They're crazy.
Yeah, I seen that one with Steve Irwin.
Yeah, exactly. Biggest guana there is.
Yeah, hit up Carlos, David, for sure. He's definitely got you.
Carlos is getting me a Komodo. He said he got me.
No, I wouldn't. Shit, we'll go to jail if he brought that in. Be like, right. Man. I didn't get it. I didn't even bring it. I have it, but I didn't bring it. I'll take the guy.
Komodo dragon. I just want to bring a kimono dragon.
Right?
I just want to hold one. I just want to be in the presence of one there's no glass involved. I'm good. I don't need that.
Have you ever gone to a zoo and just be like, can I just jump in there?
I have a friend. I'm not even going to say who it is, but he said if I ever go to a certain zoo, to let him know, and he'll get me in there. But I got to come down by you to do that.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Then when you do that, let me know when you're here so I can do that with you, experience that shit with you. God damn, that'd be hella dope.
I definitely will.
Damn, I'm looking forward to that now, Nick. You should have never said nothing.
I was supposed to come down to the show, actually, and then a bunch of stuff happened. I was going to go to it's Dallas now, but it was Arlington.
Yeah, it's Dallas. It's not Arlington anymore. Actually, me and David are going to be going to more shows, too, so you might see us in Dallas. That's in September, though, right?
I was supposed to go. What was the last one? Was it May or April? I was supposed to go to that one, but I'll try to get to the September one.
I want to say it was March.
Maybe it was March.
I want to say it was March.
I wanted to go to Ari and Ryu's place too. The Reptilandia.
In Dallas?
It's where the hell is it? I'm blanking. It's not. I don't think it's in Dallas.
Is it in Fort Worth?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Houston.
Okay.
No, that is Dallas. Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
It's Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. Their zoo is insane, man.
But I actually want to see somebody up in Dallas too. I don't know if you know her, Jennifer from Mod Exotics.
Mm-mm.
She says we're out there, stop by too. So I want to stop by and see her.
That's cool.
She can't go to the shows anymore because they don't allow retics in Dallas, which is stupid. But man, I miss Arlington, bro.
Yeah.
It was so much fun and better.
Hopefully they bring it back. Why did they ever stop that?
I have no idea. I just know that they don't allow retics in Dallas anymore, and a lot of people have bigger snakes, like the boa constrictors. They can't have those there. I think they can have those, but they have to be small or something. I'm not sure.
That's why I moved. I grew up in New Jersey, and I moved to Pennsylvania because of the laws, and I can't do any shows in New York.
Yeah, somebody was saying that too. Who do we have on that said that? I can't remember. I can't remember right now.
Yeah, Pennsylvania and Texas have the best laws in the country, supposedly. That's why I figured it was only 20 minutes from me. I'm like, I'm just gonna hop over the border.
Hey, do you work with Gila monsters or no?
I've had them, but when I consolidated, that was something I sold. But
Damn, because I'm looking for somebody who breeds them.
I want to try again. I also want to get dwarf caimans too. I love Cuviers.
Shit, whenever you do, if you get Mexican beat it, the Gila lizards or the Gila monsters, let me know.
I definitely will.
Yeah, it's like Pringles. Once you stop, I mean, once you pop, the fun don't stop, bro. I said that wrong. But all right.
I'm hungry. I kind of want some Pringles now.
All right, so that's your question, Eric. My bad, brother. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So Nick, I always ask everyone this question every time I'm on here. Was there a certain problem or situation that you encountered that you didn't prepare for, or no one really, knew about?
There's a lot,
and it can be anything. It can be animal related, building related. It's up to you.
Building related was definitely one. When I first did it, like I said, my whole building is cement. So when the temperature dropped, it got drastically cold, and I didn't have the building filled at that point. So the ambient temperature couldn't stay where I wanted it to because there wasn't enough filling it. Now it doesn't really fluctuate because there's so many lights and the temperature kind of stays that. But when that winter months came in, I got nervous. It started dropping to like 60 ambient, and that doesn't work with monitors. So that was something I had to kind of panic, and I had to put everything into small movable enclosures and bring them actually to my house until I finished the building. That was something I was not prepared for. And
like the insulation part?
Yeah.
Your walls and stuff like that, ceiling?
Yeah, because we get crazy cold over here. I mean, not crazy cold, but we're in the teens. So
that's cold. That's cold to me.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your temperature right now there?
Oof, today was 90.
Yeah, it's 98 here. It's almost 100. I actually think we hit 101 today.
Wow.
Yeah, that was freaking hot today.
Our humidity.
Oh yeah, I saw that. 101, 102.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the start. It's the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the end. Nah.
Yeah. But besides that, it was kind of just, I guess, financials was really it. I never expected to have to invest as much as I did, and it got way out of hand really fast. And just the building, it wasn't even the animals. Like I had a lot of the animals before I started, and then when I started doing these massive enclosures, I didn't realize how much it was going to cost. That came up creeping up way too quick. I had to take loans. That's what people, just like we talked about before, what people don't know is like I had to take like 2 or 3 personal loans just to do this. So they're not even paid off yet. Like it wasn't something that like I stumbled across a lot of money and I just wanted to spend it. Like, no, I got too far in and couldn't get out. So I had to go take some loans and finish this, and then just to pursue what I wanted to do.
Nice.
You gotta do what you gotta do to get what you want.
Yeah.
Because you're only investing in yourself. Ain't nobody gonna invest in you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, unless you get sponsors, but I mean, that's hard to do alone, dude. Like,
a lot of money in sponsors.
Yeah. It's a lot. I've had somebody reach out to me recently that wanted to do a breeding loan, like a breeding loan where like they'd get a percentage of what I bred and they'd give me a lot of money. I just don't like that stuff. I don't like someone controlling what I do. It's kind of like the difference between an AZA zoo and a ZAA, I think it is. Like a ZAA, you have full control and you can do whatever you want, like places like Iguana Land and stuff like that. AZA, they're like, if you breed those, you have to destroy the eggs. And I don't want someone looking over my projects like that. That's what they're doing with Komodo dragons. All the AZA zoos are breeding them. And as soon as the eggs come, the AZA comes in, they're like, destroy those eggs, freeze them.
Hey, Nick, I have a question.
So why do they breed if they're going to destroy them anyway?
They don't do it on purpose. They're just like they're in the enclosure together. And they'll breed by mistake, and which is crazy because they're doing it with species. I have people that work in zoos. I know people, and it's like stuff that's endangered. They're even like parentes. They're like destroy the eggs. And
so I have a question, Nick.
That's why I try to avoid that. Like people that want to do loans and stuff. I won't even do breeding loans if somebody's like, if I have a female black dragon, somebody's like, I'll send you my male. I don't want to do it because too much stuff happens.
So like I get you. If the dragon dies, you still have to pay him back for that dragon and stuff.
Yeah, Nick's liable, and then also the split clutch situation or something like that.
Yeah. And
do you have an LLC, Nick?
No, I don't have an LLC.
Y'all are not LLC yet?
No.
Do you plan on to or no?
I definitely want to, and I definitely want to get like, I don't know. I would love to get a ZAA to have kind of like whatever I can and have all the permitting, because like with the ZAA, I believe you can actually have a Komodo and parentes. So I want to, like, once my next facility, I want it to be as big so I can get that kind of like permit or certification, whatever you want to call it.
So for where you live in Pennsylvania, do you need like commercial permits to like breed and sell?
Nope.
Because we have them here in Texas.
Well, you need to sell, but to keep and breed, you don't need any kind of permit.
Yeah, for like we have that too. We have a permit to keep and breed, but we can't transport them or sell them.
Yeah, I have a selling permit. It's kind of the same. It's like they call it like a pet store kind of permit. So you have to keep track of it. And let them sell.
I didn't even know that I was selling snakes, and I'm not gonna say that out loud, but I didn't know you needed that permit. And David's like, "Chris, which permit do you got?" I was like, an exotic care permit from Fish and Wildlife.
You'd be surprised how many people.
And he's like, "You don't have that permit?" I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know there was that permit, bro."
Yeah.
So, like,
no one told me either for a long time. You're not the only one.
So I was like, "Holy shit! Now I got to get this permit, like, because for what we want to do." What's up, Danny? For what we want to do, like I said, we want to start up that transportation where we pick up everybody's reptiles in Dallas instead of FedEx doing it or UPS doing it and tossing the animals around.
Yeah.
They'll be with somebody that actually works with reptiles, handles reptiles, and we'll get them from point A to point B. But we're going to try it out here in Texas, and if somebody wants to partner up, and we'll just spread out through the states. And
you would just do it in state, though, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it in in San Antonio. Well, in Texas.
I was going to say, once it goes over lines, it gets weird.
Yeah, we're doing it throughout Texas, and we're going to see how that goes, because
interstate commerce is the weirdest thing, right? I know about that.
Yeah.
But I know some certain places can't have certain animals, so we're just going to have to keep reading on that and working on that. But like I said, we're hoping to take off here in Texas with that here soon. So
hope you do good, man. Wish you the best.
A lot of people are like, it's a good idea. It's better than FedEx. It's a better UPS. I mean, and you're getting them, with care instead of tossing them around. We don't know.
Yeah.
Box coming in crushed. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Coming in crushed and shit. So, all right, Dave. What's your question, brother?
I got some crazy FedEx experiences that I don't even want to say.
No. You got to tell the story now. Hold up. Tell one story. At least one.
Okay. It wasn't me, so I could say it. But somebody was shipping me again a croc monitor, and they packed it in a cardboard box, which I wouldn't do with a croc monitor because they have claws the size of my hand. And he got out of that box at my hub, and they chased it down and put it in a metal drum and delivered it to my house in a big oil drum.
Wow. Just a cardboard box? No box inside?
No, it got out of the snake bag, out of the cardboard box, and was in FedEx at the hub.
Making deliveries.
Yeah.
They're like, hurry up and catch that thing. Get that thing out of here.
Did that make it into the news?
No, thank God.
Thank God it didn't.
I know the people at my hub. Thank God it happened at my hub. Because if it happened at, like, let's say Memphis or one of the big hubs, it definitely probably would have.
But it also actually helps to know the people at your hubs. Like, I have a hub I go to, and they know me there too.
Yeah,
she's always excited to see me too. The little old lady. She's like, "How's everything going?" She always asking me when I go pick up a reptile.
That's funny. Yeah, they always want to know what's inside. I show them a picture. I'm like, "This is what it is." No,
cool. Oh, I actually opened it there. They let me open it, and they're like that.
Yeah. I shipped a giant coming eye to California, and it was like 55 pounds. And I walked in because I ship the big monitors, and those black and yellow totes from Home Depot. I ship them in those because people don't know that you can actually ship in those. That those are FedEx approved, but you have to zip tie them. So what I'll do is I'll insulate the whole inside, and then I'll put the giant monitor in, and then zip tie the top. And I walked in with a 5.5 foot tub and put it on the belt, and she's like, "I don't even want to know what's in there." She's like, "Don't even show me a picture."
Right, don't tell me.
She couldn't even pick it up. It was so fun. That was literally like 3 weeks ago.
So, Chris, I can ask my question now?
It's up to you, brother. I'm waiting on you.
Okay. No, my question is, so when did you first get into the hobby, and when did you have that kind of like aha moment where it's like, wait, like I'm part of the hobby now, like I'm one of the guys, you know?
Yeah.
That's honestly a good question, actually.
That is a great question. When I first, like, I felt like part of the hobby when I started going to shows, but the thing is like, I'll never forget, like, people would call it a hobby and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is this hobby? It's just a bunch of people that go to a show. Like, I didn't think about it like that. But then once you get immersed with a lot of people and you start talking to the same person, and then they know more people and they know each other, then you're like, wow, this really is like a community. And that didn't happen for me probably for like after being in the hobby for like 5 years, until I realized it was like a big community and everybody knows each other and everybody's on the same page. And I go to shows with all the same people locally, and people I go to the shows here will go to the same shows in California. And it took me probably 5 years of doing that. My first show, like I said, I think I vended when I went to my first show in 8th grade, and I think I was vending before I got to high school. So it was me and my dad and another friend of mine. And I have brothers and sisters, so they were there too. They were like 3 or 4 years old at the time. But we were all vending shows as like a family. My dad was the one that got us into it. Yeah. I was the only one that really, my little brother will come and help once in a while, but I was the only one that really went farther into it. Into like the reptile community. Everyone in my family has pets and birds, and my sister has 2 huge Great Danes. We all have our own thing, but I was the only one that kind of went the reptile way.
And you've seen it change significantly as far as the camaraderie, as opposed to 15 years ago compared to now.
Yep, drastically.
It was pretty cutthroat back in the day.
Yep, very
like withholding information, like what you were saying.
Yeah, and just the respect. I feel like personally, like, I don't know, a lot of people wouldn't even like give me the time of day, to now where like people will reach out. Like I had someone, I'm not gonna name names, but someone that used to like not really treat me the best wrote me a really huge, nice thing the other day saying how proud of all the stuff that I've done. So that it's cool to have moments like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really humbling.
Yeah, I agree.
I honestly feel great when people start recognizing you for what you're doing, for who you are, you know, and what you've done in the hobby too as well. Like working with monitors, like I've seen it. Like I tell Nick all the time, dude, like you're doing amazing things, and I see it all the time.
I appreciate it, bro.
So
you too. You always got ideas. You're always coming up with new ideas to better this, and it's cool. I love that.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying, and like I said, my brain never shuts down. Even when I want to go to sleep, I'm in bed on my phone, playing with ideas. Yeah. And then I'll send them to David, or I'll send it to Eric when it's done. He's like, "Dude, that's badass. Like, do that, drop that."
Those are the traits that take people to that next level. Is the people that can't stop. And I see it. I mean, even the video that you did for this podcast, it blew up on my thing. It was one of my biggest reels. We were talking about it the other day.
That's super dope.
bro. And now that I started doing the reels like that too,
I was like dancing to the reel. I'm like, this is dope.
And then it's funny too because people are like, dude, you should look into doing the reels. And I was telling David, like, I could do the reels too. Like, even though it's time consuming, I love doing them.
Yeah.
So like, people are like, you should do a reel for me, like the one I did for Cold Blooded Cafe when I announced her as the new sponsor. She's like, drop it, I love it. So I was like, dude, I just got a nick for it.
Yeah, Desiree's great people, man.
It's not easy either. You definitely have a talent.
You definitely
video editing, and then bringing people together, especially on this, like, it's super dope.
Appreciate that, Eric. Appreciate that, man. Really do. So
you could tell your achievements and how far you're growing, bro, just by your sponsors and the people that you're having on. I saw your one with SB Reptiles. Like, you're killing it, dude.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it, Nick, as always, man. Appreciate it. But go ahead and drop yourself. Plug yourself before we get on out of here, brother. Because I was going to have you drop it at the 30-minute mark, but it's already been 2 hours.
You guys can follow me on anything, YouTube, Instagram. YouTube, I've been slacking, but I'll get back into it. Instagram, Facebook, got Unlimited Exotics. Facebook's a group. Unlimited Exotics on Instagram is just my page. You can, any questions, anything like that, you can reach out to me, Nick Lillis, on Facebook, or I have my personal thing on Instagram too. So,
and then check out his merch. Go get his shirt. Go get his hat. Look at that hat. That hat's fire. And I'm a hat collector, so
yours coming.
But yeah,
on the way.
Yeah, go get that merch from him. Hit up Nick. Get that merch. I mean, this is a good guy to support here, right here. And then one positive message before we get on out of here, Nick, for everybody watching.
Support USARK. Get on it. If you have reptiles, you should be doing something to help USARK. If it's $1, if it's $5, if it's $100, we all need it more than anything.
Hell yeah. Support USARK always, baby. USARK is always there for us. They come through for us. I know a lot of people don't know about USARK, but everybody's here. We'll inform you about USARK. Just hit one of us up. Hit Nick up, hit me up. We'll talk to you about USARK, if you need it. But Tim, we're already over. You can watch the replay, brother. But on that note,
USARK Florida too.
Oh yeah, USARK Florida. Yes, good. Yeah, forgot about USARK Florida. I'm sorry. And Chuck too. Shout out and support to you, Chris. Great job with the podcast recently.
Killing it.
Yeah, I know, Tim. You've been busy. I haven't seen you in my podcast in a minute. It's good to see you though. Glad you're still kicking it. But yeah, I appreciate everybody. On that note, guys, y'all have a great night. We're out of here. Make sure to check on your loved ones, lift each other up, never put each other down, and always stay positive, man.
Thanks for having
me. Appreciate it. The more you stay positive, the more you guys can elevate each other. You just don't know. Like, look at Nick, look at us. We're all elevating. So let's just keep it up, guys.
Thanks again, guys. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully we do.
Thank you for your time, brother. If you want, you can stay backstage, Nick, and I'll talk to you because I think David has to go. But y'all have a good night, guys. We out of here.
Yeah, it's nice meeting y'all.